Hello friends, welcome to Biology Concern. I am Animesh, and in this video I am going to discuss about a historical perspective of vaccination. That means how vaccine is developed, and in this video I am also going to discuss about some efforts of some scientists who deliberately work to produce our first vaccine, like Edward Jenner experiments, Louis Pasteur experiments, von Behring's experiment. So all of these experiments are covered in this video, and I think you like that video, how the vaccine is actually discovered. So let's jump into the topic, the historical perspective of vaccination. So first thing, the human immune system. So our human immune system is a remarkable system that is also a versatile system and has evolved to protect animals from invading pathogenic microorganisms and cancer. So our immune system protects us from invading pathogenic microorganisms like typhoid, like measles, etc., and they actually can make our immune system stronger, and by strong immune system we get healthy body. So the discipline of immunology grew out of the observation that individuals who had recovered from certain infectious disease were thereafter protected from that particular diseases. So this line is very much important, because this line told that if a person get infected by some kind of pathogenic microorganisms or infectious disease, after recovering from that particular disease, this individual cannot affect by second time with that particular disease or particular infectious disease. Let's talk about the example of smallpox. So if one individual is getting smallpox or by affected by smallpox, and after recovering from smallpox, this person second time cannot get infected, so cannot get infected by smallpox. Okay, the Latin term immunis means the exempt, the origination of the source of English word immunity. So immunity comes from a Latin word that means immunis, and the meaning of this immunis is exempt. Okay, the meaning and what exempt stands for. So exempt stands for the state of protection from infectious diseases. Particularly, it is a state of body from where it gives a protection to our body. So it gave protection to our body. Okay, so next thing, the first written references of the phenomenon of immunity. So first written reference comes in 430 BC by a great historian known as Thucydides, and he was a great historian of Peloponnesian War of Athens. So he wrote that, particularly he quoted that only those who had recovered from plague could nurse the sick because they would not contract the disease a second time. So what he told that if a person is infected by plague and after recovering from plague, this person cannot get affected second time by plague. Okay, so this person cannot get affected second time by plague, and if this person cannot get affected second time by plague, they could serve as a nurse to the plague patient. Next, the first recorded attempts to induce immunity deliberately was performed in Chinese by and Turkish peoples. Okay, so in 15th century, Chinese and Turkish peoples performed a process known as variolation. So what does variolation mean? So they took the crust of smallpox and they grained it and make it smoother, and introduced the crust to their children by nostrils or by small cut in the skin. So they used diet crust derived from smallpox pustules and were either inhaled to nostrils or inserted into the small cuts in the skin, a technique called variolation. So variolation is a technique by which one can introduce infectious agent to another's body, and by doing so they basically creating immunity to those normal healthy persons. So in the third point, in 1718 Lady Mary Wortley Montagu. So Lady Mary Wortley Montagu was a wife of a British ambassador of Constantinople. Lady Mary Wortley Montagu performed variolation in her own child because at that time in her 1700s or 1715s, at that time smallpox smallpox infection is gained in Constantinople, and in that time she thought that she read about those variolation techniques about Chinese and Turkish peoples and applied to her own children, and luckily their children got immunized and they do not get affected by smallpox again. So this is the process by inhaling it by nostrils or by making small cuts in the skin and ultimately introduce the particular pathogen. Okay, so this is the variolation. So Edward Jenner's story about the smallpox vaccination. So this is the main milestone of vaccine development. In 1908, Edward Jenner observed that milkmaids, so he observed milkmaids who had contracted the mild disease cowpox were subsequently immune to smallpox. That means cows are continuously affected with cowpox, and milkmaid are all the time doing cleaning cows and cleaning cow dungs, etc. So they are intimately attached with cows. So somehow they got the disease cowpox, and smallpox virus are the same, so they did not affected by smallpox. So Jenner reasoned that introducing fluid from a cowpox pustules into people, that means inoculating them, might protect them from smallpox. So what he does, he first take small cowpox pustules, and after taking cowpox pustules called a boy, 8-year-old boy, and in 8-year-old boy he actually introduced these particularly cowpox pustules, and after several days he particularly inject the fluid from cowpox and ultimately observed that there is no smallpox occurred in this boy. So Jenner inoculated an 8-year boy with a fluid from cowpox pustules and later intentionally infected the child with smallpox. As predicted, the child did not develop smallpox. Ultimately, this gives Jenner a brief idea about inoculation. So this is the Jenner's experiment. What about Louis Pasteur's observation on immunization? So Louis Pasteur works on fowl cholera. Okay, so Louis Pasteur works on fowl cholera. So Louis Pasteur succeeded in the growing of the bacterium thought to cause cholera in the culture, fowl cholera. Okay, so he successfully created the culture that caused the fowl cholera, and he made the culture in his lab, and then he injected chickens with that particular culture and observed that the fowls are developed cholera. Okay, one fine morning Pasteur prepared a cholera culture and suddenly goes into a vacation. Okay, so after returning from the summer vacation, he injected some chickens with that particular old culture he made earlier that day before going to the vacation. Okay, initially the chickens became ill, but Pasteur surprised that they recovered. Okay, So Pasteur thought this old culture actually not working. Okay, so Pasteur thought that those old culture was not working, so he discarded the culture and prepared a fresh culture. And when he was about to inject some chickens of those particular fresh culture, he observed that his supply of chickens was limited, and therefore he used previously injected chickens. Okay, so in that case, when Pasteur was intended to inject this new culture to particular group of chicken, so then he observed that his resource of chicken was limited and he did not get the amount of the chicken which he needed. So he took the old chickens, that means the chickens which are injected with the old culture, and along with the new or fresh chickens, those old culture injected chickens also are injected with fresh culture. Okay, so fresh culture injected in both of the cases. Okay, and Pasteur observed that chickens were completely protected from the disease. That means the chickens which are injected with the old culture, they survived, but the chickens of fresh chicken which did not get any kind of old culture injection, they dies. So this is the observation made by Pasteur, and ultimately Pasteur hypothesized and proved that aging had weakened the virulence of the pathogen and that such an attenuated strain. So aging causes the strain attenuated, that means it loses its virulency. So attenuated means it loses its virulency, but it can generate immunogenicity. Okay, so what Pasteur did? Pasteur actually did aged culture with injected into a normal chicken, and after that no death occurred, and whenever he short of that particular chicken, he took some immune chickens from old culture and gave both of the chickens new culture. After that he observed that the chickens are dead, and he observed that the chickens are lived which he give the old culture. So Louis Pasteur called this attenuated strain vaccine. This vaccine comes from a Latin word called vacca, meaning cow. Pasteur named its vaccine as of honor of Jenner's work with the cowpox inoculation. After that, Pasteur again did an experiment in 1881 at Paulille-le-Fort. Pasteur first vaccinated one group of sheep with heat attenuated anthrax bacillus, that is Bacillus anthracis. So what he made a group of sheep. So he made two group of sheep, and one group of sheep he injected a live heat attenuated Bacillus anthracis and other is fresh. So after few days he injected live culture of Bacillus anthracis in both of the strains or both of the groups of the sheep. So he then challenged the vaccinated sheep and some unvaccinated sheep with virulent culture of the Bacillus. All the vaccinated sheep lived and all the unvaccinated animals are died. So this is the experiment. This experiment becomes a milestone in finding of vaccination. So this experiment marked the beginnings of the discipline of immunology. So in 1881 Pasteur's experiment marked the beginning of vaccination or immunology. Okay. So in 1885 Pasteur administered his first vaccine to a human, a young boy who had bitten repeatedly by a rabid dog, and the boy Joseph Nichter was inoculated with a series of attenuated rabies virus preparation, and luckily the boy survived. So this is the first human experiment. So this is the first human experiment of vaccination. Okay, so in 1890s, another two scientists, von Behring and Kitasato, they actually performed an experiment by which they observed that the serum of infected person, the serum from infected person, can immunize a normal person. Okay, so what was their experiment? Firstly, they took diphtheria toxoid and injected it a healthy rabbit, and after some time the rabbit got inoculated against this diphtheria, and it produced diphtheria resistant rabbit, and ultimately they collected the serum from this diphtheria resistant rabbit and injected this serum in another healthy rabbit. Okay, after some time they took the virulent diphtheria strain and injected the earlier rabbit and fresh rabbit also, and they observed that the healthy rabbit dies, but the rabbit who had previously inoculated with serum of diphtheria resistant rabbit survives. So from this experiment they proved that the serum of infected person can produce particular immunity to a non-infectious person or healthy person. So von Behring and Kitasato demonstrated that serum, the liquid non-cellular component of coagulated blood from animals to previously immunized diphtheria, could transfer immune state to unimmunized animals. The serum can provide immunity to unimmunized animals from immunized one. So this is their serum therapy experiment. So weekend virus, so first they took weekend virus and injected into a rabbit, and secondly immune against the pathogenic tetanus toxin and tetanus toxoids. So basically they injected the weekend tetanus vaccine or weekend tetanus strain to particular rabbit, and after that this immune serum injected to another mice. Okay, and after that pathogenic tetanus has been introduced to both of the mice, that is immunized or non-immunized. So this one is non-immunized. Okay, so this one is non-immunized. After that they observed that immunized mice lived, but unimmunized or non-immunized mice death. So their conclusion that transferred immune serum protects mice against the tetanus and works also therapeutically in sick mice. So no data of experiment of diphtheria bacillus were reported, but their experiments are clearly reported or clearly tells us that the serum from infected person can give us immunity to a non-immunized person. So this whole thing about the development of the vaccination, how vaccination is done and how vaccination is developed from various experiments. Okay, so if you like that video, please hit the like button, don't forget to subscribe, and thanks for watching.